My name is Commander David Vale. I was humanity's representative to the Vel'Karath Empire when Queen Astraea ruled with absolute authority. She was brilliant, ruthless, beautiful in the way that power makes creatures beautiful, terrifying and mesmerizing simultaneously. She conquered 17 star systems, enslaved entire civilizations. Her reputation was legendary. Any world that refused her rule was erased. When she turned her attention to Earth, I thought humanity's time had ended. The invasion came without warning. Her fleet appeared in orbit above our major cities. Demands were simple: surrender unconditionally or be destroyed. Our military was nowhere near ready for conflict with her forces. But I did something desperate. I volunteered to meet with her personally, to negotiate, to buy time. Everyone knew it was suicide. No human had ever negotiated successfully with Queen Astraea. I met her in her command ship. She was exactly what the report suggested: powerful, elegant, and utterly without mercy. She barely looked at me when I entered her presence. "Queen Astraea," I said, "I'm here to negotiate Earth surrender." "There is nothing to negotiate," she replied without looking up. "Your world surrenders or it burns. Choose." "I choose to speak with you first," I said. That got her attention. She looked at me with those violet eyes and seemed genuinely amused. "A human with courage," she observed. "How refreshing. Speak then. Entertain me before I destroy your world." So I told her about humanity. I spoke about our history, our struggles, our resilience, how we'd survived for millennia despite being the weakest species on our own planet, how we'd learned to build civilization not through conquest, but through cooperation. "You conquer through fear," I said carefully, "but fear doesn't create loyalty. It creates hatred, resistance. Fear creates obedience," she said coldly. "That is sufficient." "Is it?" I asked. "You've conquered 17 systems, but how many of them are always on the edge of rebellion? How much of your resources go to suppressing resistance? What if there was a better way?" She actually paused. "Explain," she commanded. So I told her about earning loyalty instead of demanding it, about creating value instead of taking it, about how humans had survived against impossible odds not through strength, but through finding common ground with enemies. "You're suggesting," she said slowly, "that I treat humans as something other than subjects to be controlled?" "I'm suggesting," I said, "that you could gain more by showing mercy than by showing strength." She was silent for a long time. Then she ordered the invasion suspended. Over the following months, something unexpected happened. Queen Astraea studied humanity, learned our history, listened to our perspectives, and gradually her worldview shifted. She began to see conquest not as victory, but as tragedy. Every enslaved world represented billions who could have been allies instead of subjects. Every destroyed civilization represented knowledge lost forever. She realized she'd been wrong, not just strategically, but morally. When she finally made her announcement, it shocked the galaxy. She was stepping down from her throne, releasing all conquered worlds, dismantling her empire and offering reparations to every civilization she'd harmed. Her own government was in chaos. Her generals felt betrayed. Her empire was collapsing. And she called me to her private chamber. "I was wrong," she said simply. "About everything. About conquest. About power. About what it means to be a leader." She looked at me with tears streaming down her face. "Forgive me, human. I beg you. Forgive me for what I've done to your people. For what I've done to billions." "I forgive you," I said. But forgiveness, I realized, was not absolution. The Tau Council, the ancient governing body of the galaxy, demanded her prosecution for war crimes. 17 star systems wanted justice. Billions wanted her executed. The crimes she committed were too extensive for mercy. Queen Astraea accepted her punishment without protest. "I deserve this," she told me the night before her trial. "I conquered worlds, enslaved billions, destroyed civilizations. That cannot be forgiven, only acknowledged, only answered for." "There must be another way," I protested. "No," she said gently. "There isn't. Justice demands accountability. I will face what I've done. The trial lasted 3 months. Every crime was cataloged. Every conquered world testified. The weight of her actions became impossible to deny. The sentence was exile, permanent imprisonment on a desolate moon with only basic life support, alone with her memories of what she'd done and what she'd destroyed. On her last day before exile, she asked to see me one final time. She was no longer wearing her crown, no longer wearing her armor, just a simple prisoner's uniform. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" I asked. "I couldn't save you." "For showing me that I was wrong," she said. "For giving me the chance to understand mercy before I died. For teaching me that power without compassion is just destruction." She looked at me with those violet eyes, no longer commanding, just deeply sad. "Tell your people that I'm sorry, truly sorry, not because I face punishment, but because I finally understand what I took from them.